Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. My name is Asad Yaqub and I am from Lahore, Pakistan, and here I am once again with a series of videos on listening. Many of you were asking me to make some videos on listening on your demand. I made videos on reading, and now on your demand I am making videos on listening so that I could explain listening module and you could take practice tests as well. So we are going to solve this test together, and this test has a variety of questions, especially no more than 2 words, no more than 1 word, no more than 3 words, and or a number and all that stuff, right? So it's again no more than 2 words and or a number. What I'm going to do first, I'm going to explain this test to you. I'm going to explain the type of questions it has got, and after that I will play the audio. You will take complete test with all 4 sections. Then I'm going to show you the answers and you can check your answers as well. So this lecture will go on for around 30-35 minutes, okay? So you have to be patient and you got to watch this lecture, and you got to you must have a pen and pencil and a paper or maybe a notebook, or it's a good idea if you get IELTS listening answer sheet. That's gonna be better, because on the answer sheet directly you can write the answers and then you can check your answers as well. So you can have a printout like this. I mean, you can get the answer sheet of IELTS listening and write the answers directly there, and you can take a look at the screen because I'm going to show you this test. First I will read the questions, I will explain the questions, then I'll play the audio, and on your screen you will watch this and you're going to solve this complete test, and at the end you'll get to know about your bench score as well. Now let's go to the handout and I'm going to solve it. Let's take a start. Okay, let's take a start. No more than 2 words. Now you must notice this thing, no more than 2 words and or a number. Now and or a number means 2 words plus it can be a number, right? This is very important. And or, right? Either it can be 1 word plus 1 number, or there can be 2 words plus a number. So 2 words and or a number. This is very important, you guys must know that. Okay, this is example, so audio will start from here. After that, last name. Now they will tell 2 names, one is first name, one is last name. Last name is your answer, date of birth is given. Type of membership. Now they'll talk about 2-3 types of membership. Yeah, this question is missing. Year, date is 11th, month is December, and year it can be 19 something or 2000 something. Type of membership, it's simple. They will tell you about the type, that it is yearly or there can be any specific type of that. Activities. Now one activity is mentioned, that is badminton. So it's going to be badminton and something. Payment details, £450 total. To be paid, how much? Now total payment is £450, and how much do they need to pay at that time? So first they'll talk about 450, then they'll talk about this payment, and you got to write it with the pound sign because pound sign is not mentioned here. Next, or it can be to be paid by cash, by credit card, by something. It can be that as well. Yes, important thing. Now, no more than 2 words. Now they have not mentioned any number, so it means there's not going to be any number. No more than 2 words. Lifestyle questionnaire. Now it's basically a short answer question. What exercise do you do regularly? Now they will ask and somebody will answer, and you got to write that exercise. It can be yoga, aerobics, or whatever. Do you have any injuries? Has a means there's going to be a singular noun, right? So it's the type of injury. What is your goal or target? Now your goal or target, a better, it can be a better lifestyle, a better job, a better career, a better, so it's going to be something like that. What is your occupation? And then occupation, so it can be doctor, engineer, and all that, student, whatever, they'll tell you the occupation. What is your occupation is done. How did you hear about the club? Now they are asking information about the club. How did you hear? How means source, newspaper, magazine, right? Or it can be any sort of notice board. So whatever the source is, you will write here no more than 2 words. So let's go on. This is section 1. Section 1 is done. Now on section 2, we've got the type of questions. Choose the correct letter A, B, C. It's multiple choice in section 2, so that's why the options are very short. The next event at the hotel will be A. Now what's the next event? They might talk about all 3 events, but the important thing here is next event. So you got to see, is it trade fair, wedding or party? Next event you got to keep in mind. Number 12, the number of guests will be. They might say, well, less than 50 or from 50 to 100. Now from 50 to 100 can be between 50 and 100 and more than 100. So less than 50, it's going to be less than, it's going to be more than. Mathematics, we use this term, okay? And from 50 to 100. And there can be a trap as well. So be very careful and be wise to decide. Next, guests will start arriving at. Now their arrival time. They will start arriving. Okay, it can be 7:15, 7:30, 7:45, and they might talk about all the times, but you got to see guests will start arriving at, and that time you got to encircle. The entertainment will be Now what is the entertainment? Is it a live band, comedian or magician? So that's simple. Entertainment will be It's very, very simple. This is not that difficult. Okay, now who will be responsible for the following jobs and the guests arrive? Who will be responsible? These are the people. So there are certain duties and they have to perform these duties. Choose 3 answers from the box and write the correct letter A to E next to questions 15 to 17. Susan, Ahmed, Gary, Olav and Monica. Offer drinks. Now it's actually drinks. First they will talk about that. And now they might say, Gary, why don't you offer drinks to the guests? Gary says, oh well, I've got to do the other stuff, so I'll not be able to do that. Then Susan says, okay, I'll do that. So Susan is going to actually offer drinks. So I mean, there can be anything like that. Alright, so you got to listen very carefully. There must be some traps here as well, and you got to escape from the traps. Take guests' coats. Now basically here, coats and hats. Who is going to do that? One hand should be here and one pencil should be there, right? When they say, okay, next is taking guests' coats and hats to the cloakroom. Who will do that? Monica, what do you think? You are appropriate for that. Monica says, well, I don't mind doing it, but actually, so it means if Monica refuses, then somebody else will do that. So you got to listen carefully and your answer will be A, B, C, D, E. Show guests where to go. Now like ushers. So show guests where to go. Who is going to do that? You got to write it. Okay. Next, no more than 3 words for each answer. General instructions. In order to get the guests to move to the restaurant, the hotel manager will. Now hotel manager will do something. So what is that? In order to get the guests to move to the restaurant. Okay. Hotel manager will announce or something. Whatever. Seating plans will be placed on each table and also in the. Now seating plans will be placed at 2 points. One is table and also in the. Now what is that second location where seating plans will be placed? So you got to find that. There will be a total of 3. Now there will be a total of 3. 3 is number, right? So whatever they say 3, okay. So you got to just see and you got to write it. So it's not that difficult. And remember, if you are targeting bench score 8, then in first 3 sections, you must get 30 out of 30. Then you can go for 8 bands, right? So whenever you practice 30 out of 30 in section 1, section 2 and section 3. Okay, now let's move on to section number 3. Here we've got this flow chart. It's a flow chart. Complete the flow chart below, right? No more than 2 words. Now there isn't anything like number. So no more than 2 words. Paper production and recycling. So question number 21, it's going to go in order. 21, then 22, then 23, then 24, 25 and then that finishes. Okay, so you need to follow this thing as it goes on. Get raw material from. From means location, from where they get the raw material, right? And then you have to go with the audio. Remove bark, chop wood, add dash. Now they add something, then heat and pulp mixture. add water or something, whatever. So it means they're going to add something, right? No more than 2 words. Then heat and pulp mixture. Okay, after that you'll come over here, paper produced in machines, then dash and distribute materials. Now distribute is a verb. There's going to be another verb over here. For example, follow and distribute materials, or bring and distribute materials. So it's going to be a verb. Answer is going to be a verb. This is how you got to read. Next we've got collect used papers and dash used papers. Now here they collect used paper. This is a very good hint. So it means it's again going to be imperative form here. Collect used paper, then here throw used paper, or crush used paper, or send used paper. It's going to be a verb over here, and verb in imperative form. Then use chemicals to. Now to means there's going to be a verb infinitive. Use chemicals to dry, to prepare, to polish, or to something. Again it's going to be a verb. After that, heat and pulp recycled, and that's it, I think. Yeah, so this is how it's going to go on. And remember, audio will start from here and then it will go on, and then this is how the audio is going to complete the whole cycle. It's not difficult at all. All you need to do is the way I just told you. You need to see the things like that. Okay, now let's go on. We've got questions 26 to 30. No more than 2 words. Now there isn't anything like numbers, so no more than 2 words for each answer. 26, what part? It's basically the answer is a part of the assignment. They are talking about assignment. And remember one thing, you need to visualize the question. Now as I read what part of the assignment, immediately assignment came to my mind. What part of the assignment is Alan going to start working on? Now assignment has different parts, right? So Alan is going to start working on a part of the assignment. That part is your answer. Where will Melanie get more information on used paper collection? Now where is a place or a resource? Will Melanie get more information? She's going to get more information on what? On used paper collection. So you got to just see that can be a resource or a place or a magazine or a website and all that. 28. What will they add to the assignment to make it more interesting? Now they have to make it interesting, and in order to do that they are going to add. Now what will they add? You got to just listen and write the answer. And remember one thing, it's not necessary to read the question. You just need to keep in mind that there is something they are going to add to the assignment that will make it interesting. Now just listen. In order to make our assignment interesting or to add some fun to the assignment, we can, then they will speak an answer. So go for ideas, don't just go for words. 29. What do they agree to complete by the end of the month? Now there is something they all agree to complete by the end of the month. What is that? Is that a project? Is that something else they are going to complete? Who will they ask to review their work? Now who is a person and review? It can be a professor, it can be their team leader, it can be the dean, or if it is university, it can be somebody like that. Who means the answer is going to be a person. And remember, no more than 2 words. Okay, so it's gonna be fine. You can do this as well. Now let's go ahead. This is section 4, and no more than 1 word or and or a number. I told you and means plus a number, 1 word plus a number, or it can be just a number, 1 word or a number. No word, only number. 1 word or a number means only number, there is no word. 1 word and a number means, like for example, if you write 6 months, so 6 is a number and months is a word. This is allowed. Now this is not 2 words. And if they have written 1 word and or a number, if they only write 1 word only, then you cannot do that. Okay, so this is a bit complicated, so you got to see that. Now what is it here? Facts about hair. Okay, main purposes, warmth and dash. Now the main purposes are 2. One is warmth. They might use the word warm or hot or heat or anything. And the second thing, now there might be this thing that warmth comes in a separate sentence and then this comes, or this can come first and then they say and as well as warmth. So you have to be careful. Don't expect this answer after warmth. It can come before warmth as well. Main component is keratin. Some people like keratin very much and they go for it. Makes fingernails what? Now main component is keratin and keratin makes fingernails something. Now something that happens with the fingernails, what is that? Makes fingernails, it can be like shining, makes fingernails something. So whatever it is, I cannot exactly guess, but you got to just see, and it is related to keratin and keratin is your clue word. Next, full head of hair can support a large weight equal to 2. Full head of hair can support a large weight. Now that large weight is equal to what? 2, and there can be something. It's 2 in number. Now they can use the word 2, they might use the word pair, they might use the word couple, or they might use some other word, right? So actually full head of hair can support a large weight and that weight is equal to 2 kgs or 2 something. Average number of strands of hair, strand is actually one hair. So average number of strands of hair dash for an adult. So it might be a number for an adult. Okay, so it's again one word only, right? Let's see what is the answer in the audio. Large amount of money spent on dash for hair in the UK. Now they spend large amount of money on something, for example on care for hair, right, on beauty for hair or something like that, okay, in the UK, and UK is the clue word. Large amount of money spent on. Now where do they spend? Now for that they can say loads of money is spent. People spend a lot of money on, right, or a lot of money goes to, and then they will tell you about this. So again I'm telling you, be confident. Structure of hair, 3 main parts. Bulb. Bulb is what? Like a. Like a means resemblance. They might use the word like, looks like, seems like, right? So you got to see that a dash over end of hair follicle. Now over the end of hair follicle, it looks like a. Like a means the resemblance. Next part of the hair is root. Contains glands that supply dash to hair strand. Now root contains glands that supply what? It's going to be some chemical or something that is supplied to the hair strand, right? So it's going to be simple. Root contains glands that supply. Now these glands supply, like supply water, supply keratin, supply something. Third part of the hair is shaft, not dash. Now not dash means negative, so they might use the word no, not, or any other word like that. Next we've got questions 39 to 40. Write one word only for each answer. Now one word only and without any number thing. So now when they say one word only, then absolutely one word. Changes in diet will take longer to affect your hair than your. Now your hair and then your. It's another thing that belongs to you. Changes in diet will take longer to affect your hair than your skin, than your body, than your whatever, and one word only. So this is something that belongs to you, right? They might change this your into another pronoun as well. Okay, it can be like there if they change the pronoun, but anyways hair and then there is something that goes with it. Vitamins C, D and E are all important for healthy hair, and now these vitamins are important for healthy hair and it can be another part of body, right? So the answer is going to be a part of body. This is not the answer, this is the type. It can be the part of body. So these vitamins important for health, for healthy hair and skin, healthy hair and something. So that's it. Okay, so this is the test. Now I play the audio and you take the test and then we see how many answers are correct.
You will hear a conversation between an assistant at a health club and a man who wants to join the club. First, you have some time to look at questions 1 to 5.
hi. Can I help you?
Hello. Yes, is your club taking on new members at the moment?
Oh, yes. We're always interested in taking on new members. Just give me a moment and I'll get an application form. Right. Here we are. So, let's start with your name.
It's Harry.
OK. And your surname?
It's Simons.
Is that like Simon with an S?
No, it's Symonds. Most people find it rather difficult to spell.
I see. It has a silent D. I guess a lot of people miss that. Now, let me see. Can you tell me when you were born?
Yes, certainly. The 11th of December.
Thanks. And the year?
1996.
OK, good. Now, are you thinking of becoming a full-time member?
Probably not. What kind of memberships do you have?
Well, we also have off-peak membership, which is between 9 and 12 in the morning and 2 and 5 in the afternoon. And then we do have a weekend membership.
So a weekend membership is just Saturday and Sunday?
Yes, that's right.
OK. Well, that's not going to work for me. It looks like I'll have to be full-time. I'm afraid off-peak membership won't do, as I'm not free at those times, and I don't just want to be restricted to weekends.
OK, I'll make a note of that. Right, we have several facilities at the club, including a gym, a swimming pool, tennis and squash courts. What activities are you planning on doing?
Well, do you have badminton?
Yes, we do.
And table tennis?
I'm afraid not. Well, not at the moment, anyway.
Oh, OK. Well, I'm also very keen on swimming, so I'm glad you have a pool. I'll certainly be doing a lot of that.
OK, I've got that. Will you be using the gym?
No, I'm not interested in that.
OK. So just let me work out what the cost will be. Yes, that comes to £450 for the year. You can choose to pay annually for the full year or monthly. It's up to you.
Oh, I'd prefer to pay regularly in small amounts, rather than have a large amount to pay in one go, if that's OK.
Sure, that's fine. Right, I've got the most important details for now.
Before you hear the rest of the conversation, you will have some time to look at the questions 6 to 10. Now listen and answer questions 6 to 10.
So, I'd just like to ask you a few questions about your lifestyle, if that's OK with you.
Yes, that's fine.
Do you do any regular exercise at the moment?
Yes, I do a bit.
Good. And what do you do?
Well, every few days I go jogging.
Yes, that's good. How long do you go for?
Well, it varies. I guess it depends on how energetic I'm feeling.
Yes, of course. Every little bit helps. Do you have any injuries at the moment?
Well, I did break a bone in my foot playing football a long time ago, but that's all healed up now. But in the last few days, I've realised I have a bad ankle. I think I must have injured it last week, and it's a bit sore now. But apart from that, I'm fine.
Right. I guess you might need to rest it for a few days to let it recover.
Yes, I will.
So, let me just ask you what you want to achieve by joining the club. Do you have any targets or goals?
Well, I suppose my main aim is to build up my fitness level. Is that the kind of thing you mean?
Yes, that's fine. All the activities you're going to be doing should certainly help you with that.
OK.
And could you tell me what you do for a living?
Well, I was a student up until recently.
OK. So what are you doing at the moment?
Well, I'm a charity worker.
Oh, that's fine. I'll write that down. OK, nearly done. One last question. Can I ask how you heard about the club? Did you see it advertised or did you go to our website, for example?
Well, I've been looking for a health club for a while, and I asked my friends for suggestions, but they weren't much help. And then I was listening to the radio, and your club was mentioned. So I thought, I'll go along and see what it's like.
Great. Well, we look forward to having you as a member.
That is the end of section 1. You now have half a minute to check your answers. Now turn to section 2. You will hear a hotel manager talking to her staff about the arrangements for an event to be held at the weekend. First, you have some time to look at questions 11 to 15.
Good morning, everyone. I hope you're all feeling okay after the activities of the last week or so. I know you've all been working very hard recently, and we've been exceptionally busy, especially with the wedding last weekend and the trade fair straight after that. And now we have only 3 days to prepare for the birthday party this weekend. The events recently have gone extremely well, and the hotel is beginning to get a very good reputation, so we need to keep it up. At the moment, we don't have exact numbers of guests, and though we usually only cater for groups of less than 50, we will have quite a few more than that. So, as I said, not sure of numbers, but of course we won't go over the maximum of 100. But it's likely that we will need all of you to work this weekend, so if any of you can't, please let me know as soon as possible. Right, so what time will the event start? Well, the invitation says guests should arrive between 7:30 and 7:45, but our experience is that there are always a few who like to arrive early, so we'll expect the first people at 7:15. As the numbers are quite large, this will certainly be the case. Food will be served at around 8:30, and then, depending on how long the meal takes, the entertainment will start about 2 hours later. Now, for this, we were expecting a live band for the occasion, which is always fun. But apparently this has been cancelled due to illness. So, the hosts know someone who is a comedian who will be replacing the band. We had hoped that the resident magician who worked here through the summer would be able to help out, but they weren't keen on that idea.
Before you hear the rest of the conversation, you will have some time to look at the questions 16 to 20. Now listen and answer questions 16 to 20.
So, I'd just like to go through who's doing what when the guests arrive, and I think we'll make a few changes from the last party held here. If I remember correctly, it was Olav who coordinated the task of providing the guests with drinks. Or was it Ahmed? I'm not sure. But Gary asked to do it this time, so that will be his job. There's been no decision yet on what the drinks are going to be, but I hope they decide soon in case we need to order something special. Now, for receiving the guests' coats and hats, it's important we have someone experienced doing this, as we don't want guests losing their belongings. And Monica, last time this was your responsibility. Susan, I know you wanted to do this, but as the numbers are quite high for this event, I won't make a change here. Right. Now, last time there was some confusion as to where guests were supposed to go once they had deposited their things, and we had guests roaming around the whole hotel. So, Ahmed and Olav, I believe you discussed the problems with Susan and thought she would be good at guiding guests after they had arrived. And I'm fine with that. Right, and now for some general instructions. Once the guests have arrived, they will be in and around the lounge area, and then at around 8:30, we need to get them to move to the restaurant for their meal. This often proves difficult and can take a long time, so I will ring a bell so that everyone knows it's time to eat. Hopefully, this will speed things up a bit. Also, for this event, there'll be a seating plan, so the guests won't be able to decide for themselves where to sit. They'll have to sit according to the plan. There will be a plan on each table, and I've been thinking about where to put the master plan so everyone can view it before they enter the restaurant. As they'll be spending quite a while in the lounge, I've decided to also put a plan there. This should speed up the start of the meal. Once the meal starts, you'll all be very busy waiting on the tables, and I'm sure I don't need to tell you to be good-humoured and polite to all the guests. The organiser of the event will be saying a few words, and so will two of his colleagues. So, when the speeches start, all activity must stop in the restaurant, so that the three people giving them can be heard. This shouldn't take long, and it should be towards the end of the meal. After that, the guests will move back to the lounge for the entertainment. So, I think that's it. Any questions? Come and see me later.
That is the end of section 2. You now have half a minute to check your answers. Now turn to section 3.
Recording 49.
You will hear two students discussing an assignment. First, you have some time to look at questions 21 to 25.
Hi, Melanie. What did you think of the assignment that we got today? It looks interesting, doesn't it?
Yes, Alan. I've always been interested in recycling, but there's a lot of research to do.
Yes, there are a lot of things I'm unsure of, so it's going to be good working with you.
OK. Well, why don't we start by making a flowchart from the notes our tutor gave us?
Yes. So, on one side we could have the paper production cycle, here on the left, and on the other side the recycling.
Good idea. Let's start at the top with the production. The first step in the process is to get the raw materials.
Yes, and they tend to come from pine forests.
OK. And then the bark is removed from the outside of the tree, and after that, the wood is chopped up. That's the first 3 stages.
It sounds a bit complicated after that. It says water is added, and then the mixture is heated and made into pulp. This will be the thick paste that is used to make paper.
Yes, you're right, because after that they use a machine to make the paper, and we can put that right in the centre of the flowchart, because it's also where the recycled paper joins the process.
Yes. So, once the paper has been produced in the machine, what happens then?
Well, I think we should write print as the next step, because this is when newspapers, magazines, etc. are produced. And we could also add that they have to be distributed to stores and people's homes.
Right. Then the recycling bit starts. The old paper's collected, and then it says it's taken somewhere so that someone or something can sort it. I imagine there are different kinds of paper, or things like paper clips that need to be removed.
Yes. Let's have a step after that. Now, how did our tutor say they do this? Oh yes, it involves chemicals. So, how is your chemistry?
Well, not very good, I'm afraid. But this is how they remove ink. So, this is definitely going to need a bit of research.
Right. The last step in the recycling section is similar to the last step in the production process, with heating and pulping, before the cycle begins again.
Now listen and answer questions 26 to 30.
So, I think going through the processes helped. Now we need to decide how we're going to do this assignment.
Yes. I guess what we need to do is take the processes and divide them up between us. But we could start thinking about an introduction.
Yes, OK. Well, I can start doing that. I think I have enough to go on already.
Good. And there are a few areas where we need a lot more information. I think I'll start with something easy. Let's say the paper collection. I could go to the resource centre to do some research.
Well, I think a better idea would be to approach someone who's involved in the process. What about contacting the council?
Oh, good idea. Yes, I'll do that instead. They're bound to have some information. And I know just the thing to add to our work to make it even more interesting.
And what's that?
Well, in my last assignment, I added a few pictures, and the feedback I got was that this wasn't academic enough. So what might really bring it to life would be to include some data, provided we can find some.
Yes, that sounds excellent. Well, we certainly have a lot to do and not much time to do it in.
You're right. I think we have about 5 weeks, so I suggest we create a plan of work today. The end of the month is nearly 3 weeks away, and then we have a few days holiday.
Yes, so let's see if we can get the first draft done by then, so we can take a short break.
OK. Then after the break, we'll have just over a week to complete it. I wonder if we could get someone to review our work for us a few days before the deadline, so we can make some final changes. What about your friend, Henry?
Well, the best person would be our tutor. Henry's very good, but he's taking a whole week's holiday, and there won't be enough time when he returns.
OK then, that's fine.
That is the end of section 3. You now have half a minute to check your answers. Now turn to section 4. You will hear a lecture about hair. First, you have some time to look at questions 31 to 40. Now listen carefully and answer questions 31 to 40.
Good morning, and welcome to this lecture on hair, which is a part of the human biology course. This lecture covers a number of facts about hair, its structure, and what can affect the general health of hair. So, first of all, what is hair, and why do we have it? If we look back at our ancestors, we'll see that they had a lot more hair on their bodies than we do now. And there are, or were, 2 main reasons for having hair. One is to provide warmth, but as humans have worn clothes for many years, body hair has significantly reduced. The other is for protection. And again, this isn't as significant as it was once. But hair does still benefit areas of the body, such as the head and around the eyes. Now, hair, whatever it is for and wherever it is on the human body, is composed mainly of a protein called keratin. This, by the way, is also found in fingernails. In fact, it's keratin which makes them flexible, and without it, they would be very rigid. Another interesting fact about hair is that it is very strong as iron, in fact. One single strand can support a weight of up to 100 grams. This may not sound all that much, but a full head of hair can support up to 12 tons, which is the equivalent of a couple of elephants, which is simply amazing. Though I advise you not to put this to the test. Humans lose up to 100 strands of hair a day, but we do have quite a lot of hair to start with. There's some variation depending on hair color, but for an average adult, the strand count is 100,000, so losing 100 a day is not too bad. Although this is the average, people with red hair have around 80,000 strands, black or brown hair 100,000, and blondes have about 120,000. So, hair used to be important for the reasons I mentioned earlier, but nowadays I'd say the main importance of hair is the fact that it is big business. Apart from the money involved in hair cutting, shaving, trimming, etc., a fortune is spent just on hair products. In the UK alone, consumers spend over £5 billion each year on these. So next, I'd like to just give you a quick overview of the structure of hair. As you can see, along the length of the hair, there are three main parts, called the bulb, the root, and the shaft. A single hair is fixed at one end below the skin in the bulb. The bulb acts rather like a cap. It encloses the end of the hair in the head. The next part of the hair is the root, and this is the part of the hair which lies just beneath the skin, and, in terms of hair production, is the most important. This can be considered the control center for each strand of hair, and is where the glands are found. These produce oil, which flows along the length of the hair, and the health of the root determines the overall health of the strand of hair. The last part is the shaft, and this is the hair which is above the skin, and is, of course, what we can see. Fortunately, this is not active, and I say fortunately because otherwise it would be very painful to have your hair cut. And finally, I'd just like to go over a few factors that impact on the overall health of hair. Like every other part of the body, our diet, that is, what we eat, is extremely important to the condition of our hair. But whereas a change in your diet to, for example, eating unhealthy foods will soon be noticeable in your skin, changes to your hair will take a lot longer. A change in diet today could take several months to have an effect on your hair. And so, what is the key to healthy hair? Well, eating a balanced diet is the most important thing. There are a number of vitamins that are vital for good hair health. The main ones being vitamins C, D, and E. And in a balanced diet, all these vitamins should be readily available. If you need a boost of vitamin C, for example, one of the best things to eat are blueberries. For vitamin D, the best examples are fish, mushrooms, and eggs. And for vitamin E, nuts and seeds. Right. So let's go on to what it...
Welcome back. Okay, so finally the test is over, huh? Alright, now after counting your correct answers, you must write your correct answers in the comment of this video. If you scored 40 out of 40, you must get 9 bands. And if you scored around 35, that will give you 8 bands. And if you scored 30, that would give you 7 bands, right? And if you scored less than that, so accordingly you can check your band score from the band calculator as well. This is just one test. We are going to do several tests, and gradually you guys are going to improve on your listening skill as well. If you like this video, hit the like button and don't forget to subscribe my channel. I run another channel, Asad Yaqub Vlogs. You can subscribe to that channel as well. I also teach IELTS online. If you want to join my online IELTS classes, you can contact me for that. Asad Yaqub wishes you all the best. Take care. Allah Hafiz.